Once a year, the Pirelli World Challenge moves north of the border to the speedrome called Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. There, the performance is stunning and the lap speeds are downright hair-raising. It's time for GT Thunder to rumble through Ontario's cottage country. The signage and the facilities here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park may have changed over the most recent few years, but one thing hasn't. When you emerge from that tunnel, you are transported back in time to one of the most amazing old-school facilities that remains virtually unchanged. It's time for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, all part of the legendary Victoria Speedfest weekend here in Ontario. And it is time for the fourth round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championships. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish. And Cal, there is no doubt about it. Any visit here is special.
Well, it's great to be back, mate, and I just love this circuit as it is the ultimate challenge for the drivers. It is daunting. It demands huge respect because a mistake here typically has big consequences. But let's take a closer look with our Porsche track preview in the hands of Porsche factory driver Michael Christensen.
Michael Christensen here with Allegro Motorsports, driving the Porsche 911 GT3R at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Coming up here into turn one, it's downhill, right-hander, really difficult to balance out the car right. Down the crest, just try to keep the momentum through, a bit bumpy in the exit especially. Coming up to the next left-hander, coming up the hill, but then there's a quest just when you want to turn in, so quite a lot of downhill, and then you compressors in the bottom. Just keep the momentum through there. Coming up to turn 3, also really difficult corner. It's mainly off camber throughout the corner, so quite slippery. But yeah, momentum is key. Going down to turn 4 here, downhill, you have a lot of compression here. So keep the speed through and hard braking up the hill to turn 5A and B. Very important is to get on the power down the long straight here, but it's really difficult as it's bumpy and very technical part of the track. As you see, it's quite bumpy generally on the track, yeah, you're fighting the steering wheel quite a lot. Coming up to turn 8, really fast turn-in point, just one gear down, a lot of speed into the corner, and you have a lot of grip in the exit of the corner, trying to line up for the next left and for the final corner too. So you always try to prepare the next corner here in this section. That was one lap with Michael Christensen at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Let's take a look at our Porsche race analysis. The track just shy of 2.5 miles, 10 turns, as you can see. Today, cool but dry, and the sun is starting to break through after a very wet day and foggy day yesterday. And we've got a big field of GTS competitors out here, both classes, fiercely competitive. And now the stage is set. Let's get down to the front of the grid for that most special command in motorsports with a third member of our team, Pilar Lastra.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the most famous words in motorsports. Helping us out with that command is Horacio Mastracchio from Pirelli Tire Motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
The sound. This is a big field. And once again, a variety of different cars in this field, a variety of different power plants, and the sound when they all light up here is absolutely glorious indeed. And getting ready to head out on the formation lap. So let's take a look now at our Pirelli storylines. And Cal, it's got to start with Lawson Awesome.
Well, he certainly was awesome yesterday. 3 for 3 in the sprint races now. Dominant yesterday. Huge margin over the field. Pole again today. He could be tough to beat.
Also, Mercedes on the rise.
Certainly, Shane Lewis, their first podium of the year. They lock out the second row for Robinson Racing.
And in the GTSA points situation, talk about tightening up.
It really did, with Tony Gaples having that brilliant podium run here yesterday. He's now within 3 points of our leader, Drew Stable.
Yeah, it's just been close, and I think he's actually also tied. Mike Hedlund is virtually in a dead heat with Tony Gaples in third as well. So this is going to be some great racing, and those guys put on a fabulous battle in the third round of the championship yesterday. We expect in these conditions, dry, cool. The best news is, and certainly for the amazing fans here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, sun's coming out a little bit, so they love it here. It doesn't matter what the weather, they're going to be at the fences. As we are going to step away for just a moment, when we come back, we will have the start of round 4 of GTS here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. And by CrowdStrike, the official cybersecurity provider of the Pirelli World Challenge.
Lights are out of the pace car. It makes the move into pit lane. It's time to go green here for round 4 of Pirelli World Challenge GTS. Lawson Aschenbach in the Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro on the pole. To his left, that red Panos in the hands of Ian James. Then the two Mercedes AMG GT4 machines and a huge field behind. Here it's green. We are racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it looks like Ian James got the jump, timed it beautifully, Cal.
He really did. He went to accelerate, and Lawson didn't go with him, and he created a gap, and Ian James has got the lead of this race early.
And Jade Buford watched that gray PF Racing Mustang as the two Mercedes side by side. Shane Lewis trying to hang on in front of Gar Robinson. He is impressive.
Yeah, and Gar Robinson, his younger teammate, takes that third position. Shane then comes back and really close into the brake zone for turn 3.
Everything settles up, and then Buford right there, and then James Sofronis, who obviously is a huge player in terms of the points, sits in that 6th spot, and it looks like Mark Clennon was able to get around and take the lead in GTSA from Fred Roberts. There's the battle up into Moss.
Well, Ian James tried to make that move that Lawson was thinking about into 5B there. He thinks better of it on cold tires. If there's a touch there, you're going to go for a ride. So Ian James, he's just got to get that car settled in. We saw Lawson's car come to life yesterday. He's got to keep Lawson behind him and keep that track position early.
That's a good point. Ian James, pretty savvy racer. As Lawson looked to the outside after what happened yesterday, Ian knew he had to get something done early. Now Lawson going to try the outside in 8.
Wow.
What a move!
Wow. Caught the drop beautifully, got alongside and just laid it late on the brakes and got to the apex. That car is hooked up once again. Look at him go.
Through turn 10 onto the front straight. And once again, Lawson Aschenbach by the end of lap 1, even though he lost the lead at the start, back there in already 3 to 4 car lengths.
Yeah, he's taken off once again. I mean, yesterday's performance, we've seen him dominate championships, dominate races, but not to the extent he did here yesterday.
At one point, that lead was up to, what, almost 12 seconds, and then he let it trip back just a little bit late in the going, knowing what he had. And now Ian James, I think, we are going to see Gar Robinson maybe closing up here, because these two Mercedes AMGs GT3s with that 4-liter bi-turbo V8 proved to be very, very effective here. Talking to the team, they said it's very much a momentum car. That's what this track's all about.
It is, and for Gar Robinson, his very first visit to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and he's been doing a great job. He said Road Atlanta used to intimidate him. He said, I'm not scared of Road Atlanta after this place, and he got to grips with it really quickly. We saw him at the back of that second pack. You had Lawson Aschenbach out front yesterday, and a big gaggle of cars battling out for the podium position. Gar Robinson was at the back of that pack, and we thought that maybe he had a bit more pace. Well, today he's showing that by getting the track position, and he's taken off from his teammate a little bit.
Yeah, just a superb run. And for a first visit here, like you said, this guy has adapted beautifully. And this is some strange equipment for him, too. He hasn't raced anything like this until this season. So he's doing an absolutely superb job. Behind him is teammate Shane Lewis, hugely experienced, as is the guy that's pressuring.
Got a big run.
Wow.
Yeah, Shane Lewis did not get through 210 effectively, and Buford just jumps on it. And he's a guy who's had so much success here. He swept both GTS races here last year. He's won before. He loves this racetrack. And that car was developed by Multimatic. This is their home circuit.
You almost wonder, it looked almost like Shane Lewis got that curb a little bit, and that may still be a tad damp, and it may have just lit it up. He certainly lost drive for a second.
Yeah, he did. He just got through the apex with not enough speed, and Buford was not so tight to him. That allowed Buford still to get through the corner at his own speed and then take advantage down the front stretch.
And now for Shane Lewis, he looks in his mirrors and he sees overall combined point leader James Sofronis in the Global Motorsports Group 511 Tactical Audi. He is racing this year right on the rear deck now as they come up out of Moss. Oh, Chafonis is in great spot here, back in that battle for fifth for a run.
Yeah, and the Audi's got good straightaway speed, so he tucks out of the draft there. Can he get alongside and make a similar move to what we saw Aschenbach do on James on the opening lap?
See, he's got the outside. We'll see if he's able to pull it off up in turn 8. And similar move around the outside. I'll tell you, two veterans have pulled off that move just absolutely cleanly.
That was really tight, and for James Safronis, he has to look ahead and realize that Lawson Aschenbach is leading this motor race. There's two championships going on here, Greg. Lawson Aschenbach is dominating the sprint race format, but overall, when you combine it with Sprint X, James Safronis leads that. That lead was eaten into yesterday with Aschenbach winning, and if he does the same again today, it's going to be very tight at the end of the day.
We're watching Fred Roberts, the local hero. Not a lot of laps here at this track. And look at this, though. It's the guy in front, his teammate, Jeff Courtney, who had a big off in qualifying and came back with a solid run. He's gone around Fred and has been attacking now on leader James Clennon. There's a look at Drew Stavely, and this is a big story. He's our Optima Batteries Best Start Award winner. He started, Cal, back in the 17th spot. He is currently running 12th. That's 5 spots he came up and sits 4th in GTSA, and that's crucial. He didn't have a great race yesterday, and he's in that points top 3. Up front, Aschenbach, James, and Robinson continue to lead overall, and in GTS and in GTSA, Clennon hangs on over the two Maseratis of Jeff Courtney and Fred Roberts.
Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. And by Porsche, there is no substitute.
As always, these weekends are doubleheader races. There was a fabulous race that unfolded in cool, damp conditions for race 1. It started with the normal rush down into turn 1, and for Lawson Aschenbach starting 3rd. Some amazing moves.
He was a man on a mission yesterday. He had the grip, that Camaro, and there you see Ian James bobbles in turn 2. Lawson was never to be headed for the rest of the day.
And the battle game was absolutely fierce. Jade Buford, Ian James. This battle for the podium stayed intense, maybe too intense.
It did. Ian James makes that move to the inside of James Safronis into Moss corner. Contact. Ultimately, he had to give that position back.
As they come up into turn 8, after that, you see bits and pieces coming off of the bodywork for James Safronis and his teammate, talking about James' teammate, Preston Calvert at GTSA, getting into Vinny Alacreta in the last corner on the way to the checkers. But at the checkers up front, all Lawson Aschenbach.
Well, from turn 2 of the opening lap, no one saw Lawson Aschenbach for the rest of the day.
And in GTSA, this was the battle to the checkered flag. Local hero Fred Roberts just missing. And it was Mark Clennon right here in his McLaren on the podium, long and sought and well earned, and he reveled in the moment. And for Lawson Aschenbach, he also enjoyed his moment on the podium, and as he got out of the car, Superman, baby.
Yeah, that was a dominant performance like we've never seen from him, but today it is a different story.
But take a look at this race here. Clennon hanging on to the lead, but Jeff Courtney right behind him. He's the team principal of JCR Motorsports in the black Maserati. And Fred Roberts, who had that amazing race to second yesterday, the local hero from Toronto, well, he's got the run going here, and Pilar has found the team.
Yes, guys, I'm here in the pits with Dougie Livingston. You guys are kicking butt right now in your Maseratis. They're definitely moving fast. What's going to be your strategy for the rest of the race?
The big thing is we don't overdrive and we just stay where we're at. I mean, Mark's running a really great race. We've just got to stay in front of him and do what we got to do. I mean, this is Fred's home track, so he's doing a great job. He came in P2 yesterday, so we're really excited to be here and we're having a great race.
Thanks so much, Dougie.
Thank you.
Well, just go fast. I like that. And I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with what we're seeing from Jeff Courtney, because underneath that pretty bumper on the back of that car, the subframe, he had a big off in qualifying, and they literally had the thing hooked up to a car, pulling the bodywork out, hitting it with sledgehammers to get that to fit. But they obviously got that car true.
They certainly did, because both of those cars are running very strong in these much better conditions here today. Mark Clennon, that win yesterday, his first in Pirelli World Challenge competition, will give him a lot of confidence. He's got a veteran, a Trans Am vet, GT vet, Stu Hayner on his radio, coaching him this weekend and giving him advice. And recently, Mark Clennon has been on the simulator, and they detected something about where he was looking. He wasn't looking far enough down the road. He's making that adjustment, and he said all about the process.
Clearly, he's never taken a Calvin Fish instructed racing school. Eyes up, eyes up. Hear that a lot. Here's a look at Lawson Aschenbach and continuing to lead. And James had closed it up to within, 2 or 3 car lengths, and now Lawson has been able to ease away just a little bit. Last laps, Lawson just about 3/10 quicker than James at that point. And in that battle for GTSA that we are looking at, Fred Roberts is going to have himself a handful, I think, because Harry Gottsacker running 7th in pro right now, but back in the 10th overall spot in that red 69 Sin GT. There it is, right there, that prototypical looking machine. He's starting to really get some speed up, and we've had to change Courtney to the lead.
Yeah, Courtney's got a round Glennon now, and Fred Roberts has got a run on that McLaren as well. So JCR run 1st and 3rd right now.
I wonder if Stu, you talked about with Glennon, and here he comes up, but he's got the long way to go. So close a touch.
Wow, that is a wild move there. Just a little brush between the 2 cars on the approach to turn 2. Roberts had 2 wheels in the right side in the dirt there, hangs onto it nicely. That was nearly, we talk about consequences around this racetrack. That's what you're talking about, these high-speed corners.
Yeah, that could have been catastrophic, and a great save by Fred Roberts, but it did allow Harry Gottsacker through and almost let Tony Gaples come up and sneak through. Tony recognized, no, he might have some mess on those tires. You don't want to get caught up in something, and Tony's experience said back off a little bit. But Harry Gottsacker in that red Sin, he said if this is dry here, this car, as we know from what Jade Buford did in it last year, has serious pace around here.
It really doesn't. Staveley's got a big run on Tony Gaples there. He got out of Moss Corner very effectively. He's trying to pull the draft on the Camaro as they crest the hill heading up the Mario Andretti straightaway. Gaples doing a tremendous job. He's focused this year. He's been in the gym. He's lost a lot of weight, and his performances are showing that dedication.
Able to hang on over Staveley on that run. And that's the look that we were talking about. You got to be all the way alongside to make it work.
Watch Roberts, he's going to get a run. Gottsacker's line was compromised there on the front straightaway. That's the problem. If you look inside and you don't get it done, suddenly you can be a sitting duck. He immediately defended. He was proactive in that, not reacting to Fred getting the run on him, so the steward should be okay with it. What a corner that is. The camera just does not do that corner justice, just like you're falling off the edge of the earth. There is Gottsacker, a late move to the inside. I'm not sure that Glennon saw him there. They almost touch. Wow, that is wild stuff there as they head through turn 3 and plummet down the hill through that fast left-hand sweep of turn 4.
Yeah, I think that and a wiggle by Glennon. He is really pushing that McLaren.
He is hanging on. He is literally hanging on for dear life right now.
Wide.
Opens the door. Gottsacker fills it.
And Roberts is going to get a run as well. They're going to be side by side as they make that little left kink.
Oh, he's got to give him room. Got to give him room. You just got to be respectful. And I think Fred just gave him a little...
how do you do?
Yeah. Like, come on, mate. Give me some room here.
Yeah, well, after that contact going up into 2, I think that was...
Gaples to the inside, a late move. Glennon's got to have his eyes wide open all around this race car right now because he is under attack. Staveley going to make a move. Brilliant. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was executed beautifully. He was watching what was unfolding in front of him, read it, said opportunity.
And look at Preston Calvert. He's in the mix. He now makes a run on Tony Gaples. So you have a little bobble here. You just get eaten alive. So Tony Gaples has now got to regroup. He was trying to make some moves there on Glennon. He was thwarted with that. Staveley took advantage. He didn't get the exit speed on the front straightaway, and Preston Calvert pounced.
Great racing in GTS, but as we said at the very top of the show, this GTSA race has the promise of being furious. It has been exactly that. We're going to sneak away for just a moment here. We'll be right back with more from our GTS Championships Round 4 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Ford Performance and by Forgeline, American-made forged performance and racing wheels.
Jeff Courtney continues to lead in GTS AM here in that black XN Lizix number 99. Jeff Courtney racing Maserati. Right behind him, is a car that runs in the pro category. That's Harry Gottsacker, and Harry wants by in a big hurry. Ooh, and he actually got Courtney offline just a little bit. This might be his opportunity, and Courtney doesn't want to let his teammate Fred Roberts slide through.
No, he's just got to tuck in there. I think it just caught Jeff Courtney's eye in his rearview mirror, probably saw that Gottsacker looked to the inside. He just missed his turning point a little bit and lost a bit of momentum onto this front straightaway. But this could be good news. If Gottsacker can gap this group, it'll allow Jeff Courtney to now just focus on his own race.
Boy, and look at these two guys, Lawson Aschenbach and the number 1 Black Dog Camaro, Ian James, and the number 50 Panos Motorsports Avezzano GT. Their margin now back to Robinson sitting in third, 16 seconds. These two pros have just checked out into another world right now.
Well, pretty much Lawson's doing to the majority of the field what he did yesterday. The difference is there's been an adjustment on that Panos because he's hanging with him today.
Absolutely, and if you recall, he had a big lead yesterday, and then that gap came down. Now, that could have well been Lawson managing tires, but if Ian's that close, Cal, he can't do that today.
He cannot do that. His hand is being forced a little bit. So when we get to the last 10 minutes of this race, it could be game on, but you never know how much Ian has taken out of his tires. So it's a chess match.
That it is. Robinson still sitting in third. Buford and Sofronis round out the top 5 overall in the category here. And then that great battle in GTSA continues as well. But it's just really a joy to watch these two guys drive and put on an absolute clinic like this, and doing it with just a car length separator.
Yeah, it's very tight, and it's also really tight looking at the timing and scoring between Gar Robinson and Buford. They're only a few tenths between each other, so big battle for that final podium spot. But you could see up the straightaway with that move that Lawson Aschenbach, been some adjustments on that Camaro over the last 12 months. Remember early last year, they didn't have the straightaway speed,
right,
and what the regulations allow, different restrictors, different weights on the car, trying to adjust to make it an even table for everyone. But this year, talking to Lawson this weekend, he said, yes, I'd like a little bit more, but he said, we're not as poor as we were last year. Here's this battle for third.
This is fierce stuff. That is Gar Robinson, and that beautiful livery, that white, orange, and I just can't describe the blue, but it is gorgeous on that Mercedes. And Jade Buford. And Jade was awfully fast in one of the dry practice sessions here. Not a surprise to see him quick. I think it's a bit of a surprise to maybe not see him up with those other two guys, actually, but they're in a great battle.
They really are. And through those final couple of corners, you can see there he kind of lost half a car length to a car length on Gar Robinson through that sequence there. Just seemed the front end on that Mustang. Quick change of direction is a little bit lazier than some of the other cars. So I'm sure that's an adjustment they made yesterday. Maybe they were set up for the car being, you know, more compliant. What we talked about a little bit earlier about softening off a little bit. That doesn't give you the sharpness in the response you're looking for in these dry conditions.
Two very different lines through turn 2 we just saw. You saw Robinson really float the car out, and you saw Jade Buford really tight, about middle of the track all the way through there. Is that that's what the car's giving you right now?
It can certainly be that, what the handling will be like. And for Gar, first time here, he maybe doesn't know any better. You're out in the danger zone out there.
That's
a little bit wide there. Gar missed the apex a little bit. He's got to stay focused here. Big day for him, big weekend. I knew he'd gain confidence with that run he had yesterday.
I like that line. He just may not know any better yet. He loves that try. You see behind these two, James Sofronis sitting right there at 5th. That's always going to have big implications on the points at this stage. And oh, look at this. Gar protecting a little down into turn 8.
You're certainly entitled to do that. Clennon. Huge incident here. This is exiting turn 1, correct?
I think it's 3.
Oh, it's 3. You're right. Yeah. It looks like he just dropped a wheel.
Yep. You can see it coming across.
Yep.
We've seen that happen a few times here. That's one of the incidents that happens at turn 3 is you drop it off and you come right back across the track. And big impact. So obviously we have a full course caution. That if you're a big fan of the sport, we know you are, you can follow all the news of the Pirelli World Challenge by downloading our new fan app. Go to the Apple App Store or Google Play App Store and search for the Pirelli World Challenge fan app and start getting in deep. You can also follow along with many other social media platforms. On Facebook, just search for PWC Championship. On Twitter, just search for @WC Racing. On Instagram, it's #PirelliWC or Pirelli World Challenge. And for all things Pirelli World Challenge, go online to the series website, world-challenge.com.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Ginetta, by Euro World Motorsports, from the street to the track, And by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspension.
Welcome back, everybody. Continuing under the full course caution. However, the Canadian Motorsports Park EV crews have done a fabulous job, and we look forward to going back to green fairly soon. Just had a nice shot there of the Global Motorsports Group CrowdStrike Audi of George Kurtz, last year's GTSA champion, and he once again has brought CrowdStrike to the Pirelli World Challenge, but has done so on an even greater level.
Nothing happens in life without a team. And so with the Pirelli World Challenge, our team's comprised of the manufacturers who make the cars, the fans who watch the race series, our own group of people who put on the race series. But at the end of the day, none of that happens without the sponsors that help put it together and the racers that are driving the cars.
If you can win and realize that it's a team sport, you know, it's not just the driver that's winning, it's actually the team that wins. It's really gratifying.
You don't get in a race car today without a tremendous level of computing power. How is that driver steering? How is that driver braking? What's happening around them? What's the track conditions? How hot is the asphalt? What is the tire temperatures? All that information is being fed in, and they're downloading that information, and they're then making their judgment systems about what to do. Well, we're going to need to see all the specifications on those vehicles. We're going to need to make sure that those vehicles are within specification, and then the results of them driving on track, how are we doing? I can't carry around terabits of storage with me when I'm in a mobile truck. So I've got to be able to go to the cloud to get that. That's an area that, from the federal government to every other credit card company out there, they're being assaulted. I need the best protection possible. That's why we chose CrowdStrike. We're very happy to work with them as a partner.
In racing, you have to take care of the little things, and the little things add up to big lap time. And it's just like in the real world, the small things that you do to build your product, to build your company, to build your culture, actually add up to a winning formula and happy customers.
This is a company that has got blue chip level and government level companies that are making decisions to choose and work with them. That made our decision really easy.
See, the lights are out on the safety car, so we should be going back to green here. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, this fourth round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship, part of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Victoria Day Speed Fest, all part of Victoria Day weekend. And it doesn't matter what the weather's like, the crowd here is always phenomenal. And the reason is they know and love their racing, and they know something special might be about to begin here, Cal.
Yeah, and I think Ian James is wondering about something special for Lawson Oschenbach on this restart. You can see he's gapped the pace car. When does he go?
He's in the acceleration zone, so it's up to him. He can go whenever he wants, really.
There he goes.
There it is, yep.
Gar Robinson has gone with him. He's gapped Buford a little bit. Buford now accelerating down this front straightaway. The fourth car in line.
Down into turn one.
There he is.
You got to be careful on these restarts because this is such fast territory,
Gar really wide there through turn one. Maybe just to keep those tires clean under this caution. He's wide again. Buford trying to take advantage there. Going to be careful. They're going to be really close as they exit turn one there, turn two. Brake zone for three, settling back in.
And again, under the caution.
Ooh, it's tight, super tight.
Cuts back on him. Now he's gonna try and do it around the outside. See what Gar does, and he's got to give it up at that point. But that bit of side-by-side now has let those two guys up front with the opportunity. That's why Jade wanted by.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he's just got to try and get that track position. But we talk about the confidence in Gar Robinson. He doesn't want to give it up easy. And this is a man who's won Trans Am titles. He's not going to be taken lightly. Now he's finding his feet in this form of competition.
And look at Harry Gottsacker now. That caution, what he needed, he's now in front of the entire GTSA field. That is Courtney leading in the 99. And so Gottsacker now, this is on the prowl and looking for positions here in that red sim.
Watch Jay Buford, he is hungry. He wants that podium run here. He's putting the pressure on Gar Robinson. Sofronis there settling in. Our overall leader in the GTS Championship. Trying to chase down Lawson Oschenbach, who leads in the sprint form of competition we're in here today.
And this Mustang is one of the cars that with the BOP is a little light in terms of straight line, which means you have to wheel it. It's so good in the corners, but when you have to wheel it that hard in the corners, you can take a lot out of the tires. And this yellow has given those Pirelli P0s a little bit more life, and Jade wants to do something.
Oh, he looks to the inside. Buford looks to the inside on Robinson. They headed down into turn three. Gar Robinson is just running super wide. Now they're side by side again on the run down towards turn four.
See if he can do it. This is where they were last time. He's a little farther alongside.
Has to give it up.
Oh, or does he? He's going to try it, Cal.
That is beautiful racing. Oh, and he has to give it up. Wow, that is hard to do there because the car gets really light and then compresses. So easy to lock up there. Beautiful driving by Jay Buford and great aggressive driving there by Gar Robinson, wanting to hang on to that podium position.
That's judging and calculating and making changes inches away from a competitor at big speed. That's amazing.
That really is. It's really tricky. Once you commit down to the inside for Moss Corner, it's really hard to tuck it back in and not have contact with the car in front of you. Hats off to Jay Buford keeping it clean.
I'll tell you what, even though these guys have been side by side a few times, their speed is such that they're having James Sofronis fade a little bit in the mirrors. Right now, Jade, I think, is pushing Gar to some new levels.
He really is, and he's enjoying it. I mean, if you can drive quickly here, this will gain in confidence, not just for this weekend, but the whole championship season.
Looking back at the battles in GTSA.
Staveley's got around Roberts there.
Yep.
Kenny chased down Jeff Courtney, Roberts' teammate here for the win.
Boy, for Staveley, this is huge because you've still got Tony Gaples has been shuffled a little bit, sits back in 5th. So huge opportunity here, and Headland at 6th. And as they do and it settles a little bit, we're going to step away for just a moment here from a great race unfolding at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Panos. Goes like lightning, sounds like thunder. And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Fierce battling continuing everywhere here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in round 4 of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship. This, the battle for 3rd overall and in pro. And Gar Robinson, a rookie at this track, a rookie in this series. He and Jade Buford are having an absolutely fabulous race. And what a great look through Moss.
That was an awesome view of those two guys going at it, just trying to get on the power early for the exit. That'll determine your terminal speed up the Mario Andretti straightaway. Not really straight, it just kind of gives you the kinks to defend with.
Yeah, the Mario Andretti sweeps might be a little bit better. Just bends and climbs for a better part of a mile. Then into this turn, turn 8. You just barely slow down through here, don't you?
Yeah, you just down one gear and then back on it. High-speed section of the racetrack. Then you need really good transition here. You need the car to change direction quickly to set up for this critical final corner and onto this front stretch.
Boy, we talked about Jade Buford and that caution maybe helping these Pirelli P0s. He certainly looks racy, Pilar. What are you hearing down at pit lane?
So I did talk with Carl Willem from Buford's team. He said, we're straight, we're much faster around the corners. We're just trying to find that straightaway to overtake Gar.
Yep, that's been the strength of that car. It is so good in the corners, and Gar running wide. He's feeling the pressure, but he's drawn away from Buford a little bit.
He has, but he's got to be careful. There are track limits that are going to be enforced around this racetrack, so he might catch a warning for that. Once you get all 4 wheels over the other side of the white line or the curb, you're going to be looked at. Look at this. Shane Lewis has come. Oh, little twitch there by Sofronis. Nice job by Shane Lewis there in adjusting his speed in a very critical corner. Woo!
Boy, you saw that wiggle, then you saw a big chunk of tire marble fly off, and obviously you're getting buildup and the like, and suddenly Lewis has dropped back. Here comes Gottsacker.
Gottsacker with a brilliant run there as Shane is regrouping, and that has taken the pressure off James Sofronis, who runs in that 5th position right now.
And he has to tuck back in. Then there's Staveley, the GTSA leader, and then the battle behind Staveley right now between Courtney Roberts and Preston Calvert is absolutely furious as well.
Courtney has gotten around Courtney here, so Ginetta leads right now. This is huge for our championship leader in GTSA. Courtney and Roberts fill out the podium right now. Calvert in the 4th position. He's not far off a podium run here today. There is the battle up front between Lawson Aschenbach and Preston Calvert's teammate Ian James. It's been right at about 3 or 4 tenths. It's now down to a couple of tenths when they crossed the line the last time, so it is game on, but knowing where Lawson Aschenbach got the lead of this race, is going to be tough for Ian James to make a move.
Both of them have had sort of a reset on these Pirelli P0s. Remarkable tires. We saw that play out in the GT race yesterday, just what these Pirelli P0s can take in terms of abuse. James actually got a nice run out of Moss.
He really did, and I think Lawson there was really compromising Moss corner. He doesn't want to make a mistake there. Just charge the corner, open up the door, because Ian is close enough to pounce. So Lawson's just saying, hit my marks and rely on the power and the acceleration of this Camaro up the straightaway. Very similar engine power plants and slightly different restrictor size.
2:08.9. And turn 10, 2 minutes to go. So this lap and one more, I would think.
Yep, should be 2 laps to go. Ian James putting the pressure on, and you'd have to think for Lawson Aschenbach, if James gets too feisty, Lawson has to think about the big picture, which he's so good at.
Yes.
In terms of James is really not in the championship fight at the moment, but we saw the charge that he put on last year through the summer, so you got to be wondering about that too. If I give him points here today and he suddenly goes on a streak, suddenly he could be fighting me for that championship lead in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's sort of a tightrope, isn't it? What do you do? And, obviously for Lawson, the easy solution is just win the thing. But Ian James doesn't necessarily make that an easy solution.
Watch down here in Moss again. Watch down through Moss. He's a little bit wide there.
Yep.
So he's feeling the heat, but right now he doesn't want to charge this corner. See him sort of more in the middle of the road. He doesn't want to open up the door there, and I think that's really compromising his exit speed right there. He's kind of 2 corners back, thinking, do not make a mistake here. Just focus on hitting my mark, and then relying on the acceleration up this straightaway. But James is super close, as is Buford on guard.
You can't even, he can barely see James in the mirrors because he's so close to the back here. Just incredibly close. As you can see, Buford making the attack, but up front, Ian James up into turn 8 and 9. He was so close to see what happens here. And when we get back to watching Lawson, keep an eye on the right rear tire, Cal. Twice now, I thought I've seen little puffs of smoke. May have been just a reflection. But as the white flag comes out last lap, Lawson was able to hang on up into turn 8 and 9. But watch that right rear on occasion here.
What does Ian James have in his bag of tricks? What can he lay out there on the final lap? Can he surprise Lawson? Does he know somewhere on this racetrack where Lawson is vulnerable?
Yeah. Lawson opens it up just there, right there. Did you see that?
Yeah. Heavy loads here through these sections of the racetrack. Sometimes if you got the car a little bit softer, you get a little bit more body roll, body lean. And we'll get a little bit of tire rub on the fender, inner fender with the tires. Lawson hits his mark that time through the apex of 4. If he's clean through here, it should be game over.
And that was nice. And he had just enough heading through 4 that time that he knew he didn't have to compromise up into 5. So we're on it here. There's Buford, has not been able to get around Robinson as of yet. So these 2 battles, and there's plenty here to be following, but up the hill we go. Last lap, up into turn 8.
That final corner has been a popular place to surprise someone on the final lap, but look at this. Lawson stretches that. He's got a nice gap there. James chasing hard. Couple of corners to go. Does he try and force it down into the final turn? No.
He thought about it. You can see Lawson placed the car over a little bit. James getting a nice run out of 10. He's going to look to the inside, but Lawson had enough. And in the GTS Sprint Championship, Lawson Aschenbach remains undefeated, a 4th straight win. I guess that's how you win 5 championships, don't you?
And immediately thinking, going out there, picking up the marbles. These cars have to pass technical inspection. Ride height is one of them, so you can kind of snowball those tires a little bit. Great day.
Yep, he is the consummate professional, isn't he? Something special indeed. Everybody out there cheering him. That was a great battle. Ian James, Robinson hanging on for 3rd, Buford 4th, and Safronis 5th. In GTSA, Stavely, Courtney, and Roberts. It stayed right there, and some serious props here again to Preston Calvert, who ran those guys down after that restart and was just a second off. Great battles everywhere on this track, and we'll be back to hear from our winners.
Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Audi. Visit AudiUSA.com or schedule a test drive today. And by AFE Power, the official intake system and air filter of the Pirelli World Challenge. Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by VP Racing Fuels. Our passion is your performance. And by Mercedes-Benz AMG.
Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in pit lane as Lawson Aschenbach brings the beautiful Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro down to emerge from the car and celebrate yet another win, 4th on the season, Cal.
It's incredible, and this was a tough one. Totally different day to yesterday. He took off yesterday from everyone, but Ian James hung tough, but didn't have enough to get around him. 4 for 4, an amazing start to the year.
You always see him get out of the car, just give a little love to the hood of that Camaro. He loves driving that machine, and what a season he is putting together here. Just fantastic stuff, as we said, the consummate pro. That look right there when he jumped off, though, it's almost like he went, I can't believe this is happening. Just that moment of pause about, really?
Yeah, this car was just hooked up this weekend. I mean, just he was on it. He looked feisty. He qualified third in the wet qualifying session. You could see immediately from the language of the car yesterday, he wanted to get to the lead. He believed he had the best car out there, was frustrated with qualifying, and he made it stick here in both races.
He did indeed, and helmet off, earplugs out. Pilar is right there.
Lawson, congratulations. 2 wins on the same track, back to back. What is it about this track and this car that was able to keep Ian off of you?
Well, first off, I've got a Chevrolet Camaro, so that's the reason we won this race today. We've been fast here year in and year out, and I think it's a testament to everybody at Chevrolet, everybody at Pratt & Miller, Black Dog Speed Shop. They give me a great car every time we're here, and I said it yesterday too, but this track means a lot to us. I mean, this is Ron Fellows' track, big Chevrolet guy, so we're really happy to have a Camaro back on top of the podium. And Ian, I mean, he was running me hard. I mean, he jumped me on the start. I don't know what that start was, but he pulled in front of me and took off, so I don't know what was going on there. But luckily I was able to get him back and hold him off because he was clearly the quicker car, but I just had to put my car in the right spots and hold him back. So really happy for a double. We just got to keep this rolling.
Thanks, Lawson.
Thank you.
Yeah, clearly the quickest car. Ian James' fast lap was something on the order of 4 100ths. Quicker than Aschenbach's.
He lost his mind, that's clear.
That's clear. Here's a look at the results here. And again, just a great battle for third. Gar Robinson, a podium. First time here, first time driving these kind of cars this season. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, congratulations to that young man. He hang tough there, particularly on the restart. Looked like his car didn't come to life. I'm not sure if he kept tire temper or got some dirt on the tires, but either way, you could put him under tremendous pressure, and he withstood that pressure and hung on for his first podium of the year.
And let's take a look now at our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award winner. And what a story this was. Drew Stavely coming from deep in the starting grid back in 17th, up 12 spots to finish 8th overall and win the GTSA category. Since he won GTSA, that means a visit with Pilar.
Yes, guys, I am here with the winner, Drew Stavely. Congratulations. Big win for you on a hairy track. You just came out of nowhere and got the win. Tell us how that went down.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a rough day yesterday, and this track is awesome. It's my first time here. Big thanks to my team for giving us an awesome car. Ian and Zach did a killer job. G3, everyone. Big thanks to everyone. And we just took it to the front today. I mean, I don't know how many cars we got to pass, but it was awesome. These are the days that you really dream for, and it was so much fun.
Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, it was an absolutely beautiful drive that he put together, just a tremendous charge. Still had enough left to be able to go for the battle when he got up through all those other cars. As we take a look at the results here, and the win he was able to put together with a bit of a margin too. I mean, that's a statement.
It really was. It was a brilliant drive. Great weekend for JCR. I mean, 3 podium results over the two races here, and Jeff Courtney, a great run. He'll be frustrated not to get that first victory, but it was so close. Maybe his time will come at the next round.
Absolutely. Preston Calvert, a great run up into 4th, and Tony Gables hanging right in there. George Kurtz, by the way, in that CrowdStrike GMG Audi. Great run for him today when they solved that cutout issue on that car, and he was able to march up. That's going to wrap things up here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but I'll tell you, in a week, everybody heads just a little bit farther east, a little bit south of here to Connecticut and Lime Rock Park, back to Sprint X category racing on the Bull Ring, Cal.
Yeah, it was equally intense, but in a very different way. Short track racing at its best. Add in that pit stop where you're going to basically lose a lap in Sprint X competition. Everyone's minds will be smoking right now in terms of getting that strategy correct.
And that's where the strategists earned their bucks, sitting on top of the pit wall. So that wraps things up here. Thanks so much for joining us. For Calvin and for Pilar and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.